Hello, Northstar here with a brand new Let's Play. This will be Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. Now, I was going to do Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri with the Alien Crossfire expansion. I've played it many, many times before, but apparently a new Windows 11 update, well, new. Alright, it's a feature pack that came out a couple years ago, broke Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri Alpha. Crossfire expansion. I don't for Windows 11. I don't remember if my previous PC had Windows 11 or was still on 10. Definitely the version I was playing it was Windows 10, and so I was having no problems. There doesn't seem to be any fix currently, except one that was rolled into a third-party mod called Thinker. But the Thinker mod changes the game in a number of ways. So I thought I would do a run here with the original game, then I will get maybe to the Thinker expansion if there still hasn't been a fix to Alien Crossfire. There's actually a very recent discussion about this. It was just last month, April of 2025, that someone sent Good Old Games a fix that they created to base game files. They didn't post the fixed exe themselves, but Good Old Games would fix that. I don't remember if this is a version that comes from my own CD install on my last computer, or a D drive, even from an earlier computer. I do own the CD. I have it in closet, actually, not 100 feet from me. Not even 10, 12, not even 12 feet from me, actually, I don't think. Um, what do I pull out right now if I wish? But because I moved it from there to there. Anyways, but this current PC doesn't have CD drive. Doesn't matter. Did Science 2.1 patch. If I don't wish to wait for a Windows 11 fix, I don't wish to use the Thinker mod. My options seem to be to create either a virtual system or install Linux. Neither of which I really want to do. But a virtual system I'm more likely to do if I really, really want to play Alien Crossfire without any third-party mods. I may just cave and do Thinkers 1, see if it really has made the game better. It's certainly made the AI more aggressive. This is, anyways, probably the best game. Hold on. Let me make sure I got the compatibility things correct here. Yeah. There we go. Now it's good. And on this too. Yep. This is arguably the best game ever made. The Alien Crossfire expansion adds some new secret projects, new techs. They're all cool. They make the game more interesting. New factions, which are garbage mostly, except for the free drones, which I wanted to play as, but it's not going to be possible without a Linux install or a virtual machine, or a fix hasn't come out yet. Anyways, I'll let you guys watch the opening intro movie for the game. It's quite good. It sets the theme.
Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden. He drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim, and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. The Conclave Bible, data links.
Earth 2060. A small group of colonists leaves the ravages of Earth for a distant planet orbiting Alpha Centauri's primary star. Their ship, the United Nations starship Unity, carries them on their journey to a new world and a new hope for humankind. Along the way, a reactor malfunction damages the Unity, precipitating a crisis among the ship's 7 most powerful leaders. As they enter the Alpha Centauri system, the crew splits into 7 distinct factions, divided not by nationality, but by ideology and their vision for the new world. After the ship breaks apart, the 7 leaders guide their chosen crew down to the surface of planet, seeking their destiny beneath an alien sky.
Yeah, so it sucks I'm not going to have access to expansion features. This is arguably the best game ever made. Some game review type sites like, I think it was PC Game Magazine, still have it rated as the #1, #2 game ever made. Many reviewers will hold to that. It was made by Sid Meier, who is behind the Civ series, to some degree, but actually it was mainly made by Brian Reynolds. Sorry, did I say it was made by Sid Meier? Did he actually? I forget if he was involved in it. It was based on his IP for sure, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But it was Brian Reynolds chiefly made the game, and part of the dev team, I don't remember, was Reynolds himself. One of the key leads on it had a PhD in philosophy, actually. So this game has depth that very few games have. Commentary on politics and such. If I could game this with, these are all Alien Crossfire saves. First time I try and hit enter and it'll bug. And do Iberian difficulty here. Yep, these are fine for settings. The variety of different factions you can play as. Morgan Industries, they're hyper-capitalist. In our world today, as capitalism and liberal democracy predictably gives way to fascism, I have very little interest in playing them. Unfortunately, the human hive other. What?
Learn to overcome the crass demands.
Oh, you can change the name. The human hive did one dirty on socialism. It was very China, you're scared, inhuman, human wave type things. It was the game devs realized it was probably the only real flaw with the original game. And in Crossfire, they had a real socialist faction, the Free Drones, who are very much what socialism is actually about. Cannot play them here. Can't replace the hive with them, which I would normally do. In Crossfire game always did that. So I'm stuck playing with the hive around. If you play as them,
learn to overcome the crass demands of flesh and bone.
I'll show you guys. Hold on. I'm gonna tweak the settings. I actually turned these down, the volume down before, but then I had to do the science patch. I didn't remember if I had installed or not. Makes the volume a little low. This was all a little better organized in the expansion, if I remember correctly. Human Hive has +1 growth, +1 industry, but they can't use, but it's literally brutal serfdom, which is not what socialism is, and they can't use democratic politics. So they're not socialist in any way, shape, or form. So, like I said, did one dirty. Most certainly not going to play them. Instead, the Lord's believers cannot use knowledge value. UN peacekeepers cannot use let's check the rules. Yep.
Learn to overcome the crass demand.
UN peacekeepers cannot use police state. Anyways, you can't even see a preview of the faction effects in the original game. In Alien Crossfire, the UI was redone a little. But the UN peacekeeping forces, those who are true to the original UN ideals, they're very much liberals, unfortunately not socialists, but you can do planned economy and democracy as them, which is the closest thing to socialism and actually a powerful combination for the UN. You can, even if you're interested, do police state, though, if you want to, say, do a kind of, what would I describe it? Like a Soviet phase, and then go towards more, authentic democratic socialism. Anyways, promise I've done the UN so many times it gets a little old. Gaians are they're almost eco-socialists, but they aren't. I think they're forbidden from using free market, which fits with being environmental socialists, because free market is extremely damaging to the planet. They do have a morale hit, if I remember, so their troops are less effective. They're not. And a hit to population growth, which can actually be very harmful for them. Let's do the peacekeeping forces. You guys haven't seen it a million times, even if I have.
As the Americans learned so painfully in Earth's final century, free flow of information is the only safeguard against tyranny. The once chained people whose leaders at last lose their grip on information flow will soon burst with freedom and vitality. But the free nation gradually constricting its grip on public discourse has begun its rapid slide into despotism. Beware of he who would deny you access to information, for in his heart he dreams himself your master. Commissioner Pravin Law, UN Declaration of Rights.
I love that quote, and it is quite cognizant to what's happening in the world today, right down to perhaps as the Americans learned so painfully in Earth's final century, which the way our world is going, America is slipping into fascism, and Earth might be ravaged. You might see humanity always survive with some kind of colony ship, which you can reach other stars with current technology. You just need the kind of ridiculous system of, since we haven't perfected any kind of fusion drive, which you would need to reach another star system, is what canonically the Starship Uni uses in this game. You gotta use pulsed thermonuclear explosions, basically detonating fusion thermonuclear warheads behind a shaped charged thermonuclear warheads behind your starship. This is Project Orion. This is something that was actually worked on and would have had the kind of fuel efficiencies needed to send humans to Alpha Centauri or other star systems. Of course, there's no habitable world around Alpha Centauri. That's purely a fiction of the game. Well, a new era of struggle and opportunity awaits you. The UN Starship Uni has arrived in the Alpha Centauri system after a 40-year voyage. All contact with Earth has been lost. After Captain Garland's assassination by an unknown assailant, there were actually books written to go with this game. I mentioned in the first video I tried to do before I ran into bugs with Alien Crossfire, which I didn't realize Windows 11 had broken with one of their feature packs. But I mentioned there's books that go in this game. They were made by one of the game devs. The game dev was not a professional writer, so he's not actually great telling the story, but it's canonically implied that it was the Spartans who did it. Possibly the Hive, but most likely, possibly Yang, but most likely actually people associated with the Spartans, who weren't even supposed to be on the ship. They actually snuck on the Starship Uni. People absolutely determined to survive. The crew community is split into factions. In the ensuing conflict, some seize control of the Unity's colony pods. You now shape the destiny of your Peacekeeper faction, which has just made Planetfall. I selected to look first, so I start with a colony pod instead of a base automatically where I landed. This is actually a fairly good place to start, although sometimes I've liked to start here. It's an isolated start. You got this whole continent to yourself. This is the freshwater sea. The Alien Crossfire expansion, I think there's a manifold nexus somewhere around too. But the Uni wreckage here, I don't remember if it's in the original game. The Uni wreckage being there. Yeah, I know this map very well. The map of planet. This is a powerful, interesting start location. This is also a game I've save scummed in the past. Some versions, and some versions done really cheeky, almost exploitive stuff like nerve stapling my population endlessly from the game start. You can do some ridiculous things if you do that, though you're locked out of ever being at peace with other factions. Pretty much they'll hate you. You can't trade with them, and you have to keep doing it forever because there's like a built-up unhappiness. It's cheeky and completely. It's a very different way of playing the game. Supply pods seeded by your Starship Uni are aims of particular interest to explore the planet. You must enter the square, contain the pod, or found it contains. But I'll try and probably resist that. Mine worms, one of the planet's most feared life forms, can appear suddenly. Oh shit. What happened there is I accidentally hit the... I forgot I was trying to move the map. Instead, I tried to move right. And I got mine worms that spawned. So either B, wiped out on turn 1, which isn't do or die, so I'll respawn somewhere else. Or, not a huge loss. Or I'll get some combat experience beating the mine worms on the very first turn. You have an advantage when you attack. The odds are 3-1 in my favor. That's partly because I have in silent combat the importance of fear and surprise in it. Crows has an advantage. That's partly because these are only hatch and mine worms. Odds 3-1 in my favor. So it's better attack than to wait to be attacked. And if I lose, well, this game is probably lost. Your scout patrol has performed admirably. He's now achieved discipline status, and I got 10 energy credits on turn 1 for that. On turn 1. Nice. This is a good start location. Well, I kind of want to build on the river tile instead of here. It adds the base's energy production, I believe. There's a rolling rainy tile here. That should be in range of the base, but there's 2 more here. So the landing tile is probably better. Probably. So, distance to your capital of stuff matters, and I'm probably gonna have to expand this way. So, God. Let's build the first base, UN headquarters. Hive technically goes first in turn order. So, yep. See all the tiles within range of the base. It's a good set of tiles. Start with some free minerals production, progress towards the scout patrol. That how many free minerals you actually start with is based on your support rating. Default support ratings, it's enough for scout patrol with their very first base.
Turn complete.
I'll need another scout patrol for sure. Let's see. See a little further now. Everything in the big fat cross of UN headquarters. Those are all Alien Crossfire saves. We'll have to go and I'm not even sure if I had the science patch. I'll probably delete them to clear this in the future, but for now, that'll work. Should probably save this as 0 or turn 0. I'll write the other one. So this game was released between Civilization 2 and 3 before they switched to hexes instead of 5, which I really don't like Civ 5. It put people into some terrible habits with Civ games. The balance is really oversimplified and towards just building a few really tall cities and minimal city management just so they'd be more accessible to casual gamers. the 1 unit per tile system was done in large part also to cater to casual gamers, making things less overwhelming but ruin the game balance. And because a lot of knock-on effects of how the game was designed. All right. Let's give me all this tutorial messages. Let's turn those off. Yeah. Made another scout patrol. There's something I wanted to check quickly. I don't think they changed how this works. The whole data links system is a little different, if I remember correctly, between Alien Crossfire and the original, and it was streamlined. Golden Age, that's right. Yeah, a Golden Age has no drones, number of talents at least equals number of workers and specialists. It's +2 to growth. I'm trying to remember if starting capital is considered to be in Golden Age with the Peacekeepers, since they start with 1 talent for every 4 pops, rounded up. Counting the number of nutrients for growth, because it's normally 10 per row. 6, 7, 8. Nope. No Golden Age yet. I think you have to have a certain minimum base size. If I remember correctly, the Data Links article on that was expanded in Alien Crossfire to make it more clear. Yeah, it's been a while, years since I played this game. I always did Alien Crossfire. It's better version of what's already an amazing game. All right. Let's turn up the volume lit. Gonna have to explore this pond. I hope it's nothing too dangerous. Someone. We have found a mysterious monolith. Leave it alone. There's a good reason I decided to leave that alone. Monoliths upgrade your units 1 experience level. Can only be used on each unit once, though. I forget if it can be used more than 1 time. Where it's 1 use per monolith. Let's see. A monolith will increase the unit's morale or life cycle 1 level, but an individual unit can receive only 1 monolith upgrade. A monolith will also complete repairing damaged unit. This can be done any number of times, even if you has already received a morale upgrade from a monolith. Yeah, but they have excellent resource yields for early game. So that's a great find that'll really help me. Yeah, okay, I didn't leave governor in charge of... I activated the governor here. It would automatically do that. I'll probably need to activate it as I go along. And went right to building a colony pod instead of another scout patrol. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. But the thing there is, yeah, it's better yields, and it can be used to repair this damage unit if I want. Later game, I'll want to save the upgrades, but this unit's damaged, and if some more mine worms come along quickly, it's probably better to at least upgrade this damaged unit, so I can explore quickly. Yep, now this is a hardened scout patrol. Morale is basically the training experience level of your population. Yeah, peacekeepers can't do much to emphasize splitting their energy between economy and labs, because they have an efficiency penalty. So free drones, you have a little more leeway to mess around with that stuff. What's my current research goal? Researching none. None? Oh, geez. I may have thrown away a turn of research, though I got lucky with that monolith. So let's do this. It doesn't save up the labs. There's no overflow save either, so my first tech, mobility, allow me to build speeders for extra mobility, but I'll probably want Centauri ecology for formers very early on. By studying the xenofungus, we can learn how to survive. So there's this fungus covering much of the planet. It's known as xenofungus. You'll learn more about it as time goes on. And there's actually references to this as a homage to this game, if you ever played Stellaris, as a possible planet feature. Good game, Stellaris, but not quite as amazing a game, I would say, as this one. Even if the UI is a little outdated, this is truly a great game. I want to go this way. It's probably more dangerous due to the proximity to xenofungus all on the way. So I'll put my hardened scout patrol on it. Also, more important, I have the better unit in my HQ in case of a mine worm out of nowhere.
Turn complete.
All right. Could try and go through the xenofungus. There's a chance that movement will fail. It says distance 3, which is to say it's not because it's diagonal. There's a 2/3 chance the scout patrol doesn't move, and a 1 in 3 chance it just moves. Plus, you can find mine worms whenever you try to move into xenofungus, so it's much better to go around. Another monolith. Leave it alone. But this is a very, very solid start. Although, it should be noted in the long run, monoliths can be problematic. I don't remember. Can you destroy them? Because in the long run, it may be better to have a different, build some upgrades that aren't monoliths on terrain. But at the very beginning, this is a great start. So Nope, already moved. Anyways. Alright, that save. Another turn. Alright, now I take a risk.
Indigenous life forms.
Oh no. There's some mine worms. They will very likely move towards my headquarters. Go here. That way I can attack them if they head towards the HQ. I think I explained it's better to attack than defend. If they destroy that unit, I can try and attack them.
Turn complete.
Yeah, you can easily get wiped at the very beginning. Ah, Scout Patrol is performed admirably. It's also disciplined. I forget if the game has a first couple fights are guaranteed victories mechanic. Many Civ games early on have that as a hidden mechanic with fewer guaranteed wins at higher difficulties. I think it's only two. I think this game had it, and I think it was only 2 at Librarian, so that's to help prevent you from getting wiped. Could be wrong. Maybe that was not added to like Civ 4. Yeah. Should probably make sure the HQ is secure. I'm not going to be, safe screen or something. I wouldn't want to get wiped out.
Nutrient resources.
Nice! Nutrient resources on a rolling tile. At this point, I should explain all tiles have 2 features. Rainfall levels, i.e. Moist, arid, or rainy, which affect food production, basically nutrient production, and hilliness, rockiness, whether they're rocky, as with here, flat or rolling. I think the data links have something about this. Base facilities might have been under terraforming. Rockiness. Rockiness of an area determines the region's mineral production potential. Flat, rolling, or rocky. Flat produces no minerals. Rolling produces a single mineral, which can be increased to 2 with a mine. Unimproved rocky regions also produce 1, but can produce 4 with a mine and road. Rocky areas inhibit movement, costing twice the normal number of moves to enter. They also provide a modest defensive benefit in combat. Ocean squares produce minerals only if you build a mine platform, in which case they produce 2. Special mineral resource squares produce 2 additional minerals per turn and can be increased to 3 extra with a mine. Crater squares also produce 1 extra. Kelp farms and tidal harnesses. Yeah, they did exist in this. It wasn't Alien Crossfire. But there was... I'm pretty sure that... yeah, there was a base facility not in the base game. It's now in Crossfire, which allowed you to up the yield from kelp farms. The food yield. It was called an aqua farm, if I remember correctly. Which made kelp farms much more useful. They can only be produced on shelf squares, so depth less than 1,000 meters. You can raise the elevation of ocean squares to expand the continental shelf. Increases nutrient production by +2, making it 3. food, but as I said, you could get up to 4 in the expansion. Can't do that in the original game, unfortunately. Tile harnesses can also only be built in shelf squares, produce 3 energy. Mine platforms can also only be built in shelf. They increase the mineral output of a ocean square by +1 or +2 with advanced ecological engineering. But if I remember correctly, they reduce food nutrient output by 1 as a trade-off for that. So, making it hard to produce decent minerals at sea and still have decent food production without, the aqua farm really helped with aquatic bases. Because, yeah, you can sell bases out at sea in the game. You can see how white or dark the water is. By the way, these are shelf squares mostly, whereas that's not. It's deeper water. Eventually do some ludicrous things with terraforming the terrain. At this point, 6 nutrients to go. I want to spend a couple turns working these nutrients, and then let's see, 6 minerals to go. Then I'll go back to this. So it'll actually be 4 turns in the colony pod and 3 turns on growth, because you have to fill up all the nutrient capacity and then 1 more turn to grow. Yeah. Forgive. I don't think the rocky terrain provides a bonus to side combat, but I could be wrong. So it probably doesn't matter. Oh yeah, rivers provide movement bonuses. Safest way to go through. Xenofungus. It's locked to 1/3 of movement. Like, say, Civ 4, where rivers don't run all in tiles, but all on the edges. Back in Civ 2 and in Alpha Centauri, and I believe Civ 3, if I remember, they ran right through tiles and could aid movement, which is nice. The idea, I guess, is that you're on a boat, or just the river provides, some flat, like, kind of beach you can move along.
Indigenous life forms.
Gah! More mine worms.
Perhaps a careful review of your options is in order.
Yeah. If you attack with 1/3 of movement, though, you'll only fight at 1/3 strength. That would be, well, pretty much suicide to attack the mine worms like that. I believe the mine worms have a combat bonus if they attack me in Xenofungus. I don't remember if there is a defensive bonus for rocky terrain inside combat and rocky Xenofungus terrain least of all. Guess I'm gonna have to live with whatever happens here, and I hope I don't get wiped though. This will at least make it quicker to heal the unit if they are on the river and survive. Ah, mine worms left them alone. Cool. Alright, attacking at return that. Turret can't. 2/3 strength is basically the same. It's an even fight, in which case morale will determine the victor. Such a fight. Stupid graphics bug. Wasn't present in the original, but some newer OSs you get things like that. Since it's very likely these mind worms will catch me off guard if I leave them alone, they'll wander around. It's better to fight at even odds than at the disadvantage of them surprising me later. So
Perhaps a careful review of your options is in order.
Odds are 18-7 in my favor because of the greater variancy. So, attack. Our Scout Patrol's performed admirably is now achieved veteran status. So, the statuses go disciplined, hardened, veteran, commando, elite. Elite units get extra movement, which is nice. And it becomes harder to gauge promotion. Also, you notice the kind of fringe around the health bar changes with variancy. This one, it goes further around the health bar. It's just, whereas like green units, it's just the box here, and the health bar very bare. Just a little visual indicator of unit variancy at a glance. Exploring, complete. Avoiding the xenofungus. Here we go. Save again. Should probably create a save 2. 47 minutes. This recording can go a little longer. 14 turns till I get Centauri ecology. Very low energy production, but this will really speed up as I grow, find new bases, make various base improvements. So it'll still be, even with stagnation, fairly ludicrously quick by the end game. Yeah, that's the edge of my borders. There are borders in Alpha Centauri that extend out. There's no culture system, so it's not, you don't push borders to culture, you just push borders by having a tile be closer to your base than anyone else's. And, if there's no other bases anywhere vaguely nearby, borders extend out like this all the way. It's like 7 or 8 tiles out, which other factions can't enter your borders without risking war unless you are at peace with them, if I remember. Most stuff I don't remember as well as I should. Alright.
Turn complete.
Yeah, that unit didn't enter this rocky terrain. Also, the unit got some healing, I think, with its promotion, which is a thing. Might take a little while to enter that rocky terrain. It basically rolls, and there's an odds, because it's normally it's a 50% chance of entering rocky terrain because the movement cost is 2 for a unit with only 1 movement. If it had 2 movement, it'd be 100% chance. So elite units are rovers. Alright. Let's work that monolith. Won't affect the time to growth anymore, and I will affect the time to the colony pod. I like to have 2 saves, because you can sometimes get save corruption when you overwrite things in older games. It's just a good habit to have. Not sure if it's true with this one anymore, but some different operating systems, some are better than others with avoiding that. Sure, maybe if running an XP compatible mode might have actually made that more likely too. It's another thing. Let's try and move into this.
Complete.
Made it into the Xenofungus in 1 turn. And here into the rocky terrain. Because I had queued that movement. Nice. UN headquarters just grew. And interesting, it started right off with 3 nutrients. I guess when it grows, it immediately gets the nutrients as if it had grown. Because it was only producing a surplus of 2 when I swapped over production before. Can't remember what the mineral overflow is. If there's an overflow or not that saved. The higher difficulties like this, if I had done a colony pod before the base grew, it's worth noting you can abandon a base. It doesn't even allow that in the lower difficulties, but I'm pretty sure you can do it on a librarian. Sometimes actually useful, but would not want to do it with my first base. So it's good I grew a turn before the colony pod. That'll sync this back to size 1 after the colony pod is completed. The base. Considering whether I like the tile assignments. Governor, you have any ideas? Yeah, even the governor agrees. Pretty sure that mineral overflow goes to waste, but there's no reason to swap this to something else. It's got the highest yields of any tile that's not the nutrients. If I did this, I would get faster tech, I suppose. But yeah, population growth is more important right now. A second. If I hurried production, I am almost positive, though, then you get full overflow.
Request confirmation.
And even if not, it'll make the next thing faster. Yeah, let's spend a little energy. 2 per mineral for that last row. Very cheap. 2 hurry production. Add something to a queue. No scout patrol. Definitely gonna want one soon to make sure bases aren't lost to mine worms when they're size 1. They're above size 1.
Production complete.
Yep, and then all those minerals go right into overflow. Which I'm not sure would have happened unless you hurried. Unless I'd hurried. Also, it's 14 food to grow, so at some point I'll want to swap to a monolith. No, I want to do it right now, actually, so I can get that scout patrol out faster. Probably. Nah, want another colony pod, actually. new colonies are more efficient than just growing up the base a little bit. Because growth slows, the more, like, it takes an additional food row for each population I already have. So it starts at 2 and goes 3, 4, 5. And, you know, a base tile produces 2 nutrients, 1 mineral, and 2 energy for free. So early on like this, yeah, I want that. Making even a rolling moist, if that's all worker can work, I'd still get 3 nutrients, 2 minerals, 2 energy from base. So it's a little better than new pop. It's especially the case if it can work something better than rolling moist. Anyways. I think I want to build my next base here along this river, on the coast, because you can't build naval units without being on the coast. And so checking elevation, it's also lower elevation, unfortunately, which is a problem with sea levels rise due to ecological damage. But they rise in insane amounts, and it's a much more fragile ecosystem than Earth, I guess. So 310 meters, they rise in 100-meter increments. So 4 sea level rises, and such a base to be underwater, which is actually a lot. But I think it's 100-meter increments. Could be 1,000, which would be insane. But yeah, get to test that theory about I believe I said before, if it's on a river, it produces more energy. Having it really close to the HQ is also good for both bureaucracy and efficiency, which is lower for the UN, and for defense purposes, being able to rush scout patrols here quickly after they're produced. Plus, I like to cram lots of small bases, especially useful with the way talents round up as the UN. Anyways, by the way, some of you were wondering, or worried, I hope not worried, but you never know with racism, what Pravanlal is Pakistani or Indian. It's a little bit unclear, but his background is he was the ship's surgeon, and he witnessed there was a devastating nuclear war between India and Pakistan in the game's canon background, which made him very concerned with human rights and a certain amount of pacifism and not seeing horrible, destructive wars that ruin lives and cause horrendous suffering. Nuclear war in particular, you saw like children with their eyes melted out and other horrific things.
The drones need you. They look
Checking
up
the
to
time. What's more, if you know anything about Pakistan's history, they had a history of autocracy. There was a U.S.-backed military dictatorship throughout the Cold War, so that would have been in the cultural memory. Even if Pakistan is a somewhat dysfunctional, but still a democracy today, it wasn't always. Go here because I'm probably going to go onto the river.
Turn complete.
Oh, there's a pod there. I just wanted to see more of this tile, but get there and then I guess onto the river for quick exploration. Right then. freely switch production priorities, actually, up until you finish the first mineral row. Yeah, no, actually, I'm going to do a scout patrol. Reason I'm going to do a scout patrol is because I'm going to actually hurry the colony pod. The next one after this should still be produced in the same amount of time. Scout patrol will actually cost a mineral and upkeep because I already have 2 units. Most factions have 2 free units upkeep. If the units aren't clean units, which have no mineral upkeep, the believers get 4, which can really help the early game if you take advantage of that. But they're just fundamentals. They also don't gain any tech progress for the first 10 turns, which is less of an issue in tech stagnation. But yeah, if I'm not safe scumming or anything, I shouldn't risk they build a base and then it gets wiped up by mine worms. I have this energy. What else am I put it towards? Or how many? What rows is recycle tanks? Wait, 30, 60. It'd be 60 energy to basically buy 3/4 of a recycle tank. Oh yeah, I'll have that fairly soon. 9 turns. Oh no, that's a while. Yeah, no, I'll do the colony pod. I'm being so dumb. Save my energy for the recycle tanks. The odds of my worms are low. It's probably risk average better to do this, even if it's riskier. Alright, let's go.
Pod recovered.
We've discovered a hydroponics pod from the forest. Has perfectly in the area. Nice. One of the things about this game is forests spread naturally over time. And it's much faster in the Civ games that occur on Earth, where actually there is forest spread. Because the idea is that trees are essentially an invasive species here on planet, and they outgrow the native life and actually can displace this fungus sometimes. This is going very well, this game so far. Let's save in case it crashes or God knows what. Also, so I'm going to do this. Build base, and if I'm completely wrong about the whole UN World Health Organization, yep, +1 energy. If I built that elsewhere, it would have just been 1. 2 and 2, but your HQ gets extra. Let me show it in the data links. +1 energy production. So any other base would have been 2-1-1. I think I misspoke earlier and said it'd be 2-1-2. But if it's on a river, it's 2-2, just like the UNHQ. So I forget if bases are. Yeah, I think they're capped. So actually, if I'd built the HQ on the river, it would have been 2-1-2 energy until I got Cern Tech, which would have allowed it to increase to 3. Yeah, so I really didn't want to have the HQ. And now there comes the thing of the tile sharing. You don't allocate tiles to cities like you do in some other Civ games. So you just gotta unassign and reassign workers. It's get a little messy when you have a lot of bases crammed close together. Which may be one reason I don't want to cram too many close together is I start to advance, especially once I get mobility and have fast moving units that can move further. For now, this is fine though. It's not much to keep track of just yet. Yeah, and with that, my energy production is 4 a turn. Already have 44. How many rows was it for recycle tank again? 4. It's effectively 80 energy worth of, yeah. Recycle tank will add 1 to all the yields. Not capped by the tech limits, I don't think, that would normally affect an HQ. So it allows you to get up to 333 before tech. Or is it base tiles aren't capped ever? I mean, it might have been. Either way, building here got more rainy rolling tiles in the radius of the headquarters, so it was a good idea. And will allow me to build base. Eventually, here or here, probably here after I remove the xenofungus from this tile, flat and moist. That form doesn't be able to do. Probably want to, yeah, do it. Right next to nutrients. Yep. Empty uppers.
Pod recovered.
This is not a pod after all, but an alien artifact we should take to base contain network node.
Turn complete.
For further study. Yeah, I can get you a free tech if you move it on to, if you connect it to a network node. Either when it first moves into such base, or there's a way if you set it, I forget, on alert and then cancel or wait to do when it, one of these is sitting in such base. Alien artifacts actually have a discipline level. It's kind of hidden, and they can be attacked by
Turn complete.
Yep, it's a green artifact. Worth noting, most factions, everything starts green. Unless you have +1 morale or such. Yeah, so fights the green level if it's tapped by mind worms, in addition to being always on the offensive if attacked, so
complete.
Needs to be protected. But yeah, free tech anyways, but later tech's more expensive, so it can also be used to hurry secret project. So it's better if I save it rather than use it right away, probably. Alright, then. Colony pod, scout patrol. After scout patrol. Probably recycling tanks. No. Scout patrol. Probably grow World Health Organization up and do the Human Genome Project there, because it's a secret project, basically a wonder. And only, one faction in the game can do it. Be really useful as the peacekeepers, because it gives +1 talent in every base, helping me golden age as peacekeepers. It's useful for any faction. And the free drones, by the way, have an easier time golden aging once you got a bit of bureaucracy, because they have an extra drone. So they have -1 drones, and on their bases per 4 pops, from I think rounded down instead of up, but bureaucracy gives you extra drones, and you can't have golden ages when you have drones. So I like the free drones. I just can't play them without either a Linux install or maybe a Mac install or a I don't remember if this game works on Mac, but a Linux install or the Thinker mod. The only things that work with the Windows 11 or rolling back to like Windows 10 or something.
Planet's atmosphere, though a gasping death to humans and most animals, is paradise for earth plants. The high nitrate content of the soil and the rich yellow sunlight bring an abundant harvest wherever adjustments can be made for the unusual soil conditions. Lady Deirdre Sky, A Comparative Biology of Planet.
This allows the weather paradigm, allows me to build formers units, and increases nutrient production on fungus squares. As you get Centauri techs, the fungus squares get decent yields. And there's these descriptions, which, if I remember correctly, you can only actually read when you text something, not from the data links, at least not in the original game. Finding adequate sources of nutrients, energy, and minerals is the most immediate problem facing the colonists after Planetfall. And understanding the basics of Centauri ecology provides new arrivals with the tools they need to begin shaping the world around them. How plants grow, what geological structures exist, and how natural energy sources may be exploited on planet. And now I can choose my next tech. After the very first one, like you guys said before, you're normally limited, I think, to 1 to 3 techs. I could check if I can change the research goal, but build network nodes. They're very expensive, so not useful early. Although it does lead to planetary networks, polymorphic software, and nonlinear mathematics. We build laser units or mobility. Rovers. I'll probably want that. Fast attacks and disciplined troops succeed on planet as on Earth. University already beat me to first tech. You know what? Actually, I probably want a former unit. After I got the first row filled, which should be when I have 12 minerals, I could rush it. If I remember correctly, I don't remember formers have an extra cost or something, but yep, probably want a former. And recycle tanks to help grow you in World Health Organization to a rather large base, and then try and grab the Human Genome Project. It wouldn't make sense if it's a tiny base like this in 67 turns. This has always been a thing in Civ games, getting some bases to be really tall to do wonders in them. You don't want to do it in a tiny base, tiny city. Okay, onto the river. Vast exploration. Got another scout patrol. This, I'll poke around here a tiny bit. Ah, found something useful out of sea. This is an energy source in the water, which makes this a 1 nutrient 2 energy tile. The kelp farm, that would go up to initially 2 nutrients, 2 energy, because nutrient production is capped at 2, if I remember, until you get tech to grow further. I think it's 2. It might have been a high 3, but I think it's 2. So until I get more Centauri tech, and when I get more, I could eventually have 3 food, 2 energy from that tile harness. Also, stuff like this, the one place you can get more in the cap is where you have a resource. So like nutrient bonus, this produces 3 food. Yep, 3 food, and with a farm, it can produce 4 food, whereas normally I can't produce 4 food anywhere else. So yeah, could hurry the colony pod, but it would just lead to the base being abandoned at this early stage. I want to swap UN headquarters to do the nutrient in a tiny bit. I'll get the minerals first because I don't. I'm not harmed by doing labs. Maybe with overflow and stuff not being saved, I might have wanted to, from a micro perspective, have done a nutrient earlier. Who knows? No, you do save lab overflow. Okay, I already have 2 research towards mobility. Start reading on formers here. Cycling tanks. There. Oh yeah, if you guys didn't catch, planet's atmosphere, a gasping death to humans. It's not breathable air. People are wearing like well, not space suits because it's pressurized, but they're wearing breathing masks that give them breathable air. It's not that it's toxic. It's just oxygen poor atmosphere. It's even more nitrogen rich than our own. It's a lot of nitrates in it too. But it doesn't have to be perfectly airtight. A little of the air can seep in, I think is the idea. But the nitrates can canonically make people a little high, basically, if they get too much. So fairly tight seal, but doesn't have to be completely airtight. But people don't have to wear a spacesuit, basically. The atmosphere won't harm their skin, but they do need to be able to breathe. Which partly explains the slow rate of population growth and such. You see, well, actually, it's quite fast, but lower productivity than you might expect realistically if this was like Earth, but with modern tech. All right, I'm going to probably cut this video here. I will see you folks next video. Let's keep this watchable. Take care of each other, be kind to yourselves, and may always find a guiding star to lead you home. Till next time, it's Northstar. Adieu.